Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who always given health, blessing, and salvation for all of us, so that we can to be here without trouble at all. Secondly, may salawat and salam for our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam who always give goodness in the world. So, hello guys, welcome back to our podcast in WEED, Weekend English Talk. So, in this podcast, I am Firdaus and my friend Ryu will be host in this podcast. So, yeah, we have a special guest in this podcast. So, we have bring the podcast with the topic, special topic that is about startup. So, without further ado, let's call our special guest, Ikhsan. Let's come to this podcast.
Okay, Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warohmatulloh wabarakatuh. Hello guys, how are you doing?
Okay, I'm fine. So, how are you, Ikhsan?
Really well.
Okay, thank you very much, Ikhsan, to come to this podcast in the midst of your busy.
No problem.
Okay, so why we call you in this podcast? So yeah, we are very curious about startup. So we always heard about startup, but don't know. I just know that startup is different with UMKM. So what is different the startup and the UMKM? It's about the manage or schedule of or the other. Yeah, Isan, you can maybe explain us about this.
Okay, so one of the things that I want to start is that the difference between startup and UMKM, startup is like a new company that is built to have rapid growth. So as the company is started, when the company starts, it tries to grow as much as possible. But UMKM is much more local. So when we on IDN, there is a store called Firja down there. Firja, the store. Firja could be classified as UMKM because Firja is local and it's only on that place. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go as much. But startup, it starts small, but then it tries to grow. UMKM like Firja, they usually just stay there and then try to provide jasa and things to the local market. But rather, startup is a more broad and diverse. Usually, startup is built on technology. So startups have like technology. With technology, you could use chat, you could use many forms of like advertisement using social media and stuff. You can make your startup grow much faster rather than Verja. Verja is only on down there on Berjo. It's not going anywhere. The difference is that yes, startup it can grow and it's more diverse. And also, usually UMKM they get their funding, their modal from their own, from their own or by lending on their friends. But startups they usually find venture capital or maybe investments too, so that they can grow. Yeah. And another thing about the difference between UMKM and startup is that UMKM is less risky because it focuses on the local market and it tries to be as fast as possible in its local market. But startup is way riskier because they have a lot of money and then they have to grow, and that grow is unpredictable. So today I'm going to talk about this book here. I have the latest startup. I've read it a few days ago and it's awesome. I suggest you guys to read it. Startup from this book, startup is like a company that is made to sustain, to live in a world full of uncertainty. Uncertainty in Indonesian is, I think, ketidakpastian. So with Firja, things are quite easy. They are stable. They are stable. They're not having any troubles and anything. But startup, they are consistently trying to improve, trying to get growth and stuff. So maybe that's a bit of difference between UMKM and startup.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Isan. So yes, I have a lot of glance of the startup and the different of startup and other company like UMKM. So yes, I know like the application there make the application with technology for more of the market.
Yes,
So
yes.
yes, like that. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, they are gain market not just local and international,
Can global, yeah, you know, like YouTube,
global.
Google, you see like that.
Yes, like that. So and in the next question, so yes, I know that startup like that, and how to make the startup. So it's different, I think.
Yes, yes.
So
It's a bit different, you know, from regular UMKM. So if I could cut you right there, okay. UMKM, usually when you're starting an UMKM, it's usually quite easy, you know, quite easy. Because maybe in that local, in your home, you can make a store, a toko kelontong, like that. Maybe you can get the food, the supply from nearby store. It's quite easy. You can start with your own money, maybe with 1 or 5 million. It's okay with MKM. But the difference that startup is different because it it is more riskier. It tries to target the world, the entire world. So UMKM, they try to just sell at their local market, you know, their place, their own place. But startup tries to grow as much in the global market. So in this book, The Lean Startup, I'm going to explain you a bit about like the best guides, like the guide to build a startup. Okay, one of the things that startups fall into, like the trap that most startup fall, is that startup is planned too much. What do I mean by that? So, for example, you want to build a company, right? You want to build a company, a new company. Maybe you want to make a software company, you know. So, before you make your company and maybe launch a product to the market, you do like a lot of research, market research. You learn a lot about your audience, your customer, and you think about the like the prices and the models and stuff. But that is a trap. That is a trap, a big trap, you know. Usually when you usual people, like conventional with traditional thinking, people usually plan their companies before it is being launched. But that is a big issue because it is only a theory. You have not tested it before. It is only a theory. The thing is that we usually fall into this trap. So company, for example, a video editor, they try to maybe think that one feature, like one of their features is the best, it's unique, and other application doesn't have it. They believe the feature could get them more customers and then make them grow. The thing is that they have not tested it. They have not tested that that feature actually does that. It is only a hypothesis or an assumption. So, in the Lean Startup book, we are usually told that we must test our assumptions. So there is a story. There's a story about a company named Zappos. Zappos, yeah, Zappos. Zappos is a shoe company. You know, your shoes like Nike, Adidas, and stuff. Back it was like before the internet boom, you know, before YouTube, before Google and stuff. There is this one small person, like a team like named Zappos, and they have an idea to make a store for shoes. The thing is that they don't know whether, you know, they can make an online store and maybe people would use it. They don't know. So what they do, you know, what they do is that because they don't have any model, they don't have any money, they visit their like local store for shoes. They take pictures, a lot of pictures of shoes, and then they publish them on the internet in like when you in today's terms, it was like Telegram groups or WhatsApp groups. And then you would ask people, do you want to buy this? You want to buy this? You want to buy this and stuff. And they do that, all of that manually without any software. So they send picture to a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group, and then they would ask if whether somebody would want to buy it. And surprisingly, a lot of people, Zappos, they realize that there is a market for people that wants to buy shoes online. And so they, from that small business, from that small test, they understand, they learn that people want a website to buy shoes. And so Zappos, what they did is that they make an online store for shoes. They're able to test their hypothesis that people want to buy shoes. That is one of the principles of creating a startup, the lean startup way. That's one of the cool things. So as we've known, this world that we live in is full of uncertainty, full of ketidakpastian. The thing is that we cannot exactly know when we maybe have done a lot of research, when we learn a lot of things. It doesn't mean when we try to do it in the real world, it would be successful. Yes. We must, usually people would, when they make a company, they adopt the just do it principle. When they make a software, they just make it and then see what happens. But it's wrong. It's wrong. It's dangerous. It will make your company fail, because hard work, perseverance often don't lead to success. Whoa, hard work, hard work. We usually are told by our teachers to do a lot of hard work, to persevere, to, make our projects and stuff so that we would be successful. But it's not entirely the case. There is a saying, work smarter, not harder. Yeah. So in the lean startup methodology, you are usually tasked to test your hypothesis. When your company is built, you immediately make a software. You make a simple software. This is called an MVP, a minimum viable product. So this minimum viable product is a very bad software. It's terrible, very bad UI, UX. It has bugs, it crashes, it errors, but it has your idea in it. So what you do is that you get this MVP and then sell it to people. It's a bad idea. It sounds like a bad idea. It's like it's going to make your name dirty lah. You might think like that, but no, actually. When you target a specific audience, for example, when you're trying to make, let's say, a chat app like WhatsApp or Telegram, a new chat app, you would try to, when you make an MVP, a terrible MVP that is made in like less than a month, so like 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, you publish it. Maybe you have a friend that likes to do a lot of chatting, or maybe he knows a lot about technology, and maybe your chat app has a feature that that person likes. So then you give the app to that person and then let them give feedback. Let them give feedback, and then from that feedback you can learn. And then make better software. The thing is that learning is a very strong word in companies, because most people like, imagine yourself in a company, and then you have an accountant, accountancy, like that. Maybe they have read some data, and then they understand, and then they did something, but then they failed to like maybe get 5,000 users. They failed, and then they say to their CEO, oh my God, I'm sorry, I failed, but I learned something. The word learn is like very strong to the CEO. It's like, it's just an excuse for them to get away with their actions. And that is probably the last thing that the accountant will say to the CEO. So one of the things that we have to accept, learning as a value. We have to accept startup exists not to build software, but rather to build a sustainable business on top of the uncertain world. This world is uncertain. We cannot know whatever happens to this world. And so we try our best to adopt, to be flexible to the world so that we could make software that would last. That is about MVP. So what you must do when you make a company is that stop planning. When you have a hypothesis, when you have an idea, start building it. Start building it and then make it small. Make it simple so that it gets your idea across. And then you target early adopters. Early adopters are people that are interested with your product. So you give them your product. Maybe you could make them pay for it. But from that, you can gain understanding. You can gain feedback from your customers. And that is how you get learning in a startup. The next is that this method of making a product, maybe when you have published a product and a software, you need to update it, you need to maintain it. So this is a part of the cycle of the build, measure, and learn. So this build, measure, and learn cycle is a cycle that is done with a product. When you build a product, you release it, and then you need to measure it. You need to measure, do your people like, do your customer like the software or not? And you have to learn from it. So for example, you make a software like maybe a chat app, and then you get it to customers, and then you need to measure. You need to know. You need to understand that whether the user like the application or not. And from that understanding, from what you've get, you have to learn from it. You have to learn what makes people want to use your app and what things that people uh, hate from using your app. You have to get rid of the things that people hate and then add more things that the people like. Sometimes we are terbutakan by the idea of maybe, oh, this feature, I want to add this feature to the app, to the software. I think it will get many customer. The problem is that it's not, yeah, you have not proven it. It's only a theory. It's only a hypothesis. The thing with the lean startup is that you have to test it. First, you have to make that feature. You have to make that feature, you build it, and then you release it to customer right away. Don't wait for the next release, or like 1 month, 2 months. No, tomorrow you have to release it. When you release that feature, you can then see whether your users like them. This can be done with a technique called A/B testing. A/B testing, is a technique where software, a feature of its software, a subset of it, is being delivered to like uh, like half of the customer. So, for example, with YouTube or maybe WhatsApp, with YouTube, maybe when you like open YouTube and then you see a feature, maybe you see a new feature on YouTube, but then when you see your friend's YouTube, that feature is not there. Maybe you have encountered this before. Maybe with WhatsApp as also. When they start to roll the new status, the status. Back then, status was like this, big a list, but now it's horizontal, right? Back then, it was just a list. Now it's horizontal. Back then, when the WhatsApp tries to deliver that feature, some people see them and some people don't. And that is the case with A and B testing, because WhatsApp tries to understand whether the users actually want to build this, to have this feature on their WhatsApp or not. The problem is that that's the problem is that they don't know and they want to test it through A and B testing. So maybe your friend has the status horizontal, but then yourself, your phone, you have the status vertical as a list. It's because WhatsApp tries to see. Maybe the user with the list status, they don't like it, and so WhatsApp decided to remove it. And so maybe with the new horizontal status, new people liked it. So WhatsApp decided to make it stay. That is A and B testing. So with A and B testing, we can learn exactly. It is more of a scientific method, when we have to do a research whether one group likes the feature and one group does not. So to do this A/B testing, you must build your software in such a way that you can update quickly. When you have something like WhatsApp or YouTube, maybe YouTube updates itself without you clicking the update button on Play Store. Maybe YouTube has a new feature and then, but what? It updated. I have not update on the Play Store. It's because YouTube is designed to do so. Google knows. Google wants to do A/B testing, so they have to roll their updates quickly to the users. Like what I've said, ship your feature tomorrow, not next month. So what? You can test it right away. When you have a company with thousands of employees, like with the case of Intuit. Intuit was a company, an example found in the Lean Startup book. Intuit was a company that creates software to automate tax reports. Tax, what's tax in Indonesia? I forgot. Tax is like money you have to pay to the government. What is that? I forgot what tax was. So tax in the United States, they have a form. They have a formulaire they have to fill, and it's very long. It's very, very long. Companies, other people, they don't want to waste their time filling their taxes. So this Intuit company, they make a software for computers. Yeah, for computers. For computers, they make a software to automatically file tax reports, and it's good for their business. But at one day, one person, one entrepreneur decided, what if we make that feature available as a mobile app? So Intuit created the app SnapTax. With the app SnapTax, people could just take a picture of their W-2 form. I forgot what the tax was, but it was just a simple form, a simple tax form. And with that photo, the user can fill the tax form automatically. They can send it to the government, and then boom, they're done. At first, when SnapTax was made, it was made in very quick time. It was made really quickly, way quicker than maybe your games and stuff. Because they want to test whether people really want to use their phones to fill tax forms. What they did is that actually what they've observed is that yes, people do actually want to fill their forms automatically using their mobile phones. So SnapTax was then developed further as they understand that, people like to fill their taxes without using a computer. They can use your phone. And then, so they decided to develop SnapTax. And that SnapTax became a hit in the tax-paying industry. That is about quickening your updates. So you in the MVP, when you make an MVP and you do the build, measure, and learn, you have to quicken that cycle. When you build, measure, and learn, you have to quicken it, because you may have a lot of ideas to test and you have a lot of things to test, new features to be added, but you don't know whether your users want to use them. And so you need to make this cycle: build, measure, learn, build, measure, learn, build, measure, learn quickly, so that you could test a lot of things and then make your company grow rapidly as a startup would do. The next thing I want to point out is that in these the Lean Startup books is that you have a thing called as vision, strategy, and product. Vision is the bottommost part of the, you can imagine a triangle, right? A triangle. And so at the bottom you have vision, your vision. Vision is a thing that you want to see in the world. It's like a change that you want to see in the world. So for example, with SnapTax, their vision is to make people can easily fill tax forms with their mobile phones. That is their vision. That is their vision. Their strategy involves like stuff like business model, product roadmap, and opinions about maybe the competition, and assumptions about who the customer will be, because we can never know. It's only an assumption. It's only a hypothesis. Maybe the users of Snaptext would be new accountants in the company. Maybe it would be like a senior accountant in the company. We can never know. It's only an assumption. That is the strategy. And the last is the product itself. The product is the software, the made software, the built one. So to change, because startups is designed to be able to be flexible in this world of uncertainty, the strategy and the product must be able to be changed or be modified or be upgraded in such a way that it would match the trajectory of the growth. So with the product, they could do a thing called optimization. Optimization is a part where when you maybe when you have done a survey, or maybe you have done an A/B testing of your product, you see that feature A is good, and then customer like it, and so you make an optimization. You further expand and you further make that feature better, and so that makes your user happier. And you can also like when that feature is not good, and so you just need to remove it, because not everything must be built. Because the question how can this be built is uh, is always possible. Like you can build anything with the software. The thing is that will user use it. So with the product at the topmost, you have to be able to optimize your product through a lot of ways, through like A/B testing, surveys, and stuff. And then the next one is the strategy. So after you have the vision, the vision, the thing that you want to see in the world to change, like Snaptext, they want to be people to be able to have their phones fill on their tax forms easily from their phones. And so their strategy, like how are they going to make this app grow? So in the lean startup, there is 3 ways of growing. One, I have not read it enough, but I think one way is like viral growth. So like through viral growth, you try to make the product be able to be shared to their friends. So like for example, it's like a COVID pandemic. When one person is infected, get 2%, and then 4, and then 8, and then so on and so on. That's the viral growth. And then the next is like a paid growth. So like with the paid engine of growth, it's actually done. So like people would pay to use your product, but then a portion of it, like just a few of the revenue is done on advertisement. And then the next is the sticky engine of growth. The sticky engine of growth is like an engine of growth where the user is like being made to be sticky to the product. So you make them to be dependent of your product. This is done in apps like TikTok or maybe YouTube or Instagram. When you open your TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, you usually get hooked to it. You open TikTok, and open TikTok every time. That's the strategy. That's the sticky method. That is a way to your strategy. But strategy must also be changed like a product. A product can be changed by optimization, but a strategy may be changed by something called pivot. So when you are in the middle of building your software company or startup, you may see that your metrics are going down or maybe otherwise. When you try to do a lot of optimization of your product and you're not getting any benefits of it, maybe it's because your strategy is flawed at the beginning. So what you must do is that you have to do a pivot. So you have to change your method, your strategy in like attacking, or like what you might call it, attacking the customers like. So you must change the strategy. That is called a pivot. But you also have to be careful to not pivot too much, because maybe you might have missed a hidden opportunity between your strategy changes. And maybe that's a bit about the bits and bobs of creating a startups about that is told by the lean startup. Maybe you have any further questions, Firdaus or you?
Oh, that's cool, Isan. You are very, very cool for that answer. Nah, maybe this is for the last question and
Okay,
important because we want to know your idea.
my idea,
Yes.
like startup
And
idea.
so, what is your startup idea?
Oh, okay, okay, sure, sure. I've been thinking about of making a software company. So, like as you've known, like what I have told, startup they usually revolve around technology. Companies like Google, Apple, Netflix, uh, stuff like that, they are around technology, and I want to be in that space as well. I want to. I have an idea. I have a vision to make a product that would revolutionize the video editing industry. It's because I've actually have learned stuff about video editing for a while. Uh, I want to make a product like a video editor that where the rendering takes place on the server, and I want it to be fully flawless, free, libre, open source, so that everybody could use it, any company could use it, and self-host it on their own server, and then they could like edit videos without using like uh without buying their editors expensive laptops. So in a company, maybe in a software editing company, you have thousands of employees, and maybe those thousands of employees you need to buy them a good laptop or maybe a graphics card, and that is really expensive. What if they could just use a regular laptop, but then the rendering could be done on the server? And that's the idea. That's the hypothesis that I want to test, and maybe later, maybe when I've graduated from IDN, I want to try to make a video editor that is done on the web, and then the rendering takes place on the server. So when you edit, you could just use a crappy laptop, like an old Acer laptop, and then you'd be able to like edit videos at 60 FPS without any issues, because the render server is really fast. You can imagine yourself me like editing a video. Imagine yourself like editing a video for a diniyah project or maybe an English project. You When you render the video, it usually takes like a few minutes or maybe like even an hour to render, and that is a big problem because it takes a lot of time. With a video editing company, they want to iterate as much as possible. They want to try to like edit as much as possible, see the end result as much as possible, so that with my product, with my idea, with my hypothesis, I believe that those video editing companies would use my software so that they could offload the work of like video rendering from the client to server, so that people, like a lot of video editors, could use the same server and have the same performance without much effort done by their client. Maybe that's a bit about the idea of my startup that I want to build, maybe when after graduate on IDN. Maybe you have any further questions? No, sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Oh my God, that is a very nice idea. So, so because the time is 34 minutes now, so maybe I'm and you will close this podcast. So, uh, thank you very much, Ihsan, for your podcast. Uh, you're talking about your experience about what is the startup and planning how we build the startup, and the last is the ID to build the startup. So you have give us a lot of new knowledge, like how we build is I have no like build is like uh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Because this you're talking English and I get some value for your explain that is like E and B testing is if we want to make the startup we have to uh, start to based on the client, make the client first and not just planning and action. So that's all maybe for this podcast, and thank you very much for your explain about startup. So maybe thank you for Ikhsan for our explain, and after this let's close this podcast with Alhamdulillah and kafaratul majelis.
Alhamdulillah. Subhanallah.
Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. And thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. I'm Firdaus and my friend Ryu. Sorry for our mistake if there is mistake. So, thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.